Hello and welcome to Feast Your Eyes. We revisit great films and look at the stories they tell with and about food.
Chinese? Thai, maybe? I've got it. Italian food.
This episode, Léon, aka The Professional, aka Léon the Professional. Let's start at the beginning. The opening shot has us flying over the ocean and then onto land, until a tilt up reveals the Manhattan skyline and therefore that the ocean was in fact the Central Park Reservoir. We keep flying forward through Manhattan, the streets getting smaller, until we end up in Little Italy and track right through the door of the Supreme Macaroni Company, aka Guido's restaurant. Inside we meet Léon, not with a bowl of pasta, but with a glass of milk, good for your bones if a bit bland. For Léon, it's his signature, a suitably innocuous prop for a man whose job as a contract killer requires him to become invisible. The point is that the milk is functional and serviceable. Léon even downs the whole glass at once. This drink tells us something about him. It's a simple action, but filmed in such a way that it hints at Léon's blunt proficiency. He doesn't savour the taste because Léon's lifestyle is all about Spartan discipline, without the luxury of flavour. There's even the suggestion that milk is all he consumes.
I'm going grocery shopping. You want some milk? 1 quart or 2? It's 2, right?
They gotta be jumping out of the plate. They gotta be alive.
Though there isn't much food in the film, it's significant that Léon receives his assignments in an Italian restaurant. Food is probably the #1 marker of Italianness in American cinema. It helps to define the entire subgenre of mafia movies. In fact, it's difficult to find a single mafia film that doesn't feature crucial moments over dinner or around food. For Italian Americans on screen, it goes hand in hand with crime as a cultural signifier. Italian food is both an artisanal passion and an economic necessity, the place where families, both immediate and professional, come together, and a space where immigrants have found room for themselves in the cutthroat capitalist landscape of the United States. Guido's restaurant is run by Léon's handler, Tony, played by Danny Aiello. Now, Danny Aiello also appeared in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing as Sal, another Italian-American restaurant owner, that time not in Little Italy, but in Bedford-Stuyvesant, a black neighbourhood in Brooklyn, just over the bridge. In Do the Right Thing, local resident Buggin' Out takes exception to the exclusively white Italian-American identity of Sal's Pizzeria, as Sal's clientele is almost exclusively black.
This is my pizzeria. American Italians on the wall only.
The row of course escalates into one of cinema's greatest stories about how food is never just food. For in a racist society, if food is a cultural signifier, it will always hold the potential of conflict. And in Léon, we see this as the paradox of what it means to be an immigrant in America. There are dual needs to, on the one hand, monetize the uniqueness of your cultural capital, and on the other hand, to assimilate seamlessly into a collective identity. Nothing suggests this paradox more than pizza, an Italian food that's become irretrievably associated not with Italians, but with New Yorkers. Remember the opening shot of Léon? Not for nothing does it mimic a journey into New York City from overseas. Léon himself is an immigrant who fled Italy to avoid certain death at the hands of a vengeful family. In New York, anonymity is his greatest asset. He moves unseen in the shadows, watches without being seen. Matilda is a liability because she draws unwanted attention by doing things like this.
He's my lover.
And like this. But as long as they're both anonymous and don't have roots, they can move around the city and disappear once again. This is what it's like to live in a big city. It's an anonymizing experience that can be turned into an economic or professional advantage. When Matilda moves in with Léon, they seem to only eat packaged fast food, candy, cereal, and of course milk. There's no connection to a cultural identity beyond corporate America at large. As an immigrant doing illegal work, Léon exists in the sizable but invisible economy within the rest of the country.
I'm gonna get some more milk.
The characters are put in danger when their actions draw attention because they're not congruous with the rest of society. This is most obvious when Matilda behaves in a way that is inappropriate for a child. Even in her first scene, she's smoking a cigarette, a sign that she's growing up too fast. When her dad and the corrupt cops arrive, she swaps it for a lollipop, signifier of innocence and childhood, and listens in without drawing attention. Similarly, when she needs to gain access to the police station, what does she use as cover?
Food.
Food is one of the things that we use to disguise, mark, or blend difference to navigate a hostile world. Her taboo behaviour escalates as she gets drunk, kills people, and has a quasi-romantic relationship with an adult. Notably, all of these things were cut from the original theatrical release. Now, New York is multicultural, but it's also America, so if you want to become part of society, what you really need is money. When Matilda is hanging around in the street rather than inside one of her temporary apartments, the neighbourhood kids demand that she pays rent to sit on the steps. At this point in the story, we might expect her to unleash some of her newfound assassin skills to teach the bullies a lesson. Instead, she simply uses the cash she's got from that job and pays the rent without complaint.
Does paying rent here mean I have to put up with you guys?
No.
So go play somewhere else.
Matilda takes the economic reality of her city at face value, with no pretense of community or belonging. Money doesn't undo injustice, but it does allow you to pay your way through an unjust society. And money doesn't care who spends it. In the end, of course, Matilda convinces Léon that there is more to the world than the samey apartments and hotel rooms he occupies. As they say goodbye, he reassures her that she has given him a taste for life. That means, as well as escaping an oppressively disciplined and joylessly anonymous life, branching out beyond milk for sustenance. Until next time.